The big game is fast approaching, but wait, you still haven't got your tickets. You've spent hours searching, but you're still confused about ticket prices. Time to stop searching. Visit ticketcompare.com. We compare ticket prices for all the popular leagues and tournaments for you. We work only with the most trustworthy sites, so you can have peace of mind when buying your tickets. Compare prices, buy tickets, get to the game. Ticketcompare.com. Buying tickets made simple.
Hello. Hi, how are you? Good to be. It's nice to see you, but how are you? Welcome. How are you? Nice to meet you. How are you, lady? How are you? His name on the time. Lady. That was done by the lady. How do you spell it? L-A-N-E-Y. Good name. We don't have that one anymore, my friend. We don't have any ladies. You're the first.
Okay.
I just recover this, if I may.
Yeah. Apologies for being slightly late, everyone. Adrian, would you like to start this time?
Afternoon, Roy. Can I have start with some injury news, please?
We don't really have any at the moment, amazingly enough. It's strange after all the injury woes we've been put through during the course of this season. It's quite amazing that today the only two players not training are, well, three players, sorry, not training are Jason Puncheon, Bakary Sacco and Scott Dan, all of whom, of course, suffered very, very serious injuries, and we've known that they wouldn't be taking part again. But Connor Wickham has trained again today, which is really good news, in particular for Connor, because he's been out for such a long time, and Jeffrey Schlupp is back, so it was a big squad out there today.
3 or 4 games to go now. I think at last we're starting to see a little bit of daylight between the bottom 3 and the rest. I mean, do you think one more win might be enough for you in your heart?
It could well be. I mean, obviously you get involved in all the speculation of what could happen in other games, but 38 points would seem to be quite a good total this year, with so many teams still not close to that 38 points. But you never know, and as far as we're concerned, it's really just a question of trying to make certain we win each of the 3 matches available and take no chances. And I certainly won't be relaxing, and I'll be ensuring that the players do not relax until such time as we are mathematically safe. And I think it's going to take more than 3 points to ensure that we are mathematically safe.
You went to Leicester before Christmas when they were in really good form and you pulled off a great result. How big an opportunity is this, given that you're at home this time?
It's an opportunity. I mean, I don't think it's particularly a big opportunity. Each of the 3 games presents us with an opportunity, and it's an opportunity that, you know, in September we didn't realise we were going to have. So we have to be grateful for the fact that those opportunities exist. We have to work really hard to make certain we don't pass up on the opportunity by not playing the best football we're capable of playing. So we can do no more than that. We have great respect for Leicester City. I mean, it's not so long back that they were champions of England. It's still very much the same team that made them champions of England, and they have some very good players. They have a good coaching staff and manager. So it's all very well people saying, well, it's Leicester at home, you beat them away. As far as I'm concerned, it's a new day, a new game, and each game has its own story to tell.
One of your opponents looks like being on Saturday will be Jamie Vardy, another 20-goal season for him in all competitions. How dangerous do you expect he'll be, or how useful do you think he'll be for England in the summer?
I think he'll be very dangerous, first of all, for us on Saturday, and I think he'll be very dangerous for England's opponents during the World Cup, because I have a lot of respect and admiration for Jamie Vardy. I was obviously the one who brought him into the England squad and showed, I hope, the faith that I and my coaching staff at the time had in him, and he never let us down. He's a worker, he's a goal scorer, and he's a constant thorn in the side of any defence, and that's what we're preparing for.
You did speak about Wilfred Zaha after the game against Watford, but do you expect his comments and how they've been perceived to have any bearing on how he sees out the rest of the season, or indeed how he plays out the rest of his career? Because there were quite strong comments about his own position, Bill.
I think I said what I had to really say about Wilf. I mean, I have no doubt in my own mind about him as a player, and certainly I have no doubts in my mind about his honesty and his desire to to score goals and to play the game properly. The fact is, he, like several others, I believe he's the most fouled player in the league after the Dele Allis and the Eden Hazards. He's a great runner with the ball. He's very brave. He takes people on and he goes into areas where there are bodies and where it hurts players to go in. And as a result, those players, unfortunately, are always the ones who get accused of cheating because they get fouled, and then people want to discuss, was it a foul or was it not a foul? But I have no doubts about Wilf, and the fact he's a very strong character, and unfortunately you can name a lot of players who go through a period of their career where people outside decide that they want to highlight this particular player in this particular moment. Hazard certainly had it, Dele Alli certainly had it, and I think it will go on through time immemorial, because players who run with the ball are few and far between, and players with that level of dribbling ability and that bravery to go in constantly and take people on in the penalty box and risk the fouls and risk the kicks, they're worth their weight in gold.
And he said as well this week he can't see himself play anywhere other than Crystal Palace. How much encouragement does that give you as his man?
No, that's very good. Yep, that's very, very good. I think that's great news for the club. But you have to be careful. You know, I take all of those things I've got to say at face value. Let's wait and see. As far as I'm concerned, it's the next 3 games that really interest me with Crystal Palace Football Club, to make certain we're still in the league next season, and then we'll start looking again. But it would be excellent if we can ensure that Wilf is always with us, because he is a match winner, because he has the qualities I've just been speaking of.
What do you feel has been the problem with Christian Benteke this season? Obviously his goal output has been far below what we'd expect him to achieve. A lot of consistency in the previous season. Do you see him being part of your plans next season?
Yes, he's under contract next season, and this season I feel sorry for him, because he certainly has tried his hardest. I can't complain about his attitude or his desire or his work rate in games. He's working hard to improve all those aspects of his game as well. But of course, centre forwards, especially ones that cost quite a lot of money, they're judged on one thing and one thing alone: how many goals can you show as a return, if you like, for the club's investment in you. And if you're not scoring those goals, then of course the problem just gets magnified, made worse with every passing game, and it's a vicious circle, and it's self-perpetuating, and the only way to stop it is for him to get back into the team, to force his way back in, and when he gets into the team, score goals and convert the chances that come his way. He's not been able to do that this season, but I've got to say to anyone who doubts him, it isn't for want of trying. It is just one of those things that football players go through.
You have quite a lengthy list, I think, of players out of contract in the summer. Does that mean quite a lot of work to do, suggest quite a lot of work to do in the summer to get them ready for next season?
Well, I guess it will be a lot of work to do after the season. It will involve a lot of discussions between our sporting director, Doug Freeman, and the chairman, Steve Parish. But it's something which is very much on the back burner at the moment, because we don't know what league we're going to be playing in next season. And it would be very foolish to start making bold statements and bold decisions regarding the playing squad until we know once and for all where we'll be playing our football next year. So at the moment, the only thing that interests us and the only thing on our agenda at all are these last 3 games and the number of points we're going to need to make certain that when we do sit down, we're in the league we want to be in, i.e. the Premier League. So at the moment, I'm sure there's lots of speculation, I'm sure there's lots of things being said and being written, but as far as us 3 are concerned, the 3 that will make the decisions at the end of the day, we have our focus purely and simply on the league and points.
I must ask you about safe standing. The petition from football fans to get it discussed in Parliament has reached over 100,000 signatures, which means it's going to happen. As somebody who remembers terracing as it was yesteryear, where do you stand on its reintroduction?
I think it's good that it's gone so democratically that the number of votes has positioned, if you like, the proposal in front of Parliament, and I think that until such time as Parliament have given the green light. There's not a lot of point in speculating too much about how it will go. But I would say that for a club like ours, we get a fantastic atmosphere anyway, so we're not one of those clubs that we think, well, we would benefit enormously if there was standing areas because the atmosphere would be better. I don't think, quite frankly, we can get a much better atmosphere than we get at our home games. But what I would also say is that it would be very interesting for the club, and I'm sure that the chairman agrees with me, to hear our fans' opinion on the subject. So if the green light was ever given and safe standing was on the cards and clubs could have safe standing if they wanted it, I'm pretty sure our fans would be canvassed for their opinion, and I'm pretty sure the club will listen to them because we have such a lot of respect and affection for our fans because they do so much for us.
Just in the last hour, it's emerged that the FA are going to be selling Wembley to the owner of Fulham, Shahid Khan. Critics are already saying it's the FA selling off the family silver. They also raised the possibility that England could be moving around the country to play games as they did in Spain or Ericsson's time. What's your initial reaction to that?
Well, first of all, I don't know if a deal has actually been agreed or struck. I think that if the FA have made a deal, it would be for the right reasons. It would be because they see that the amount of money that they would get from the deal would be advantageous and would be spent in a wise way to help our football in general. I don't think for 1 minute they would have any other ulterior motives other than the best of football here in England. I enjoyed Wembley, of course, like all the managers before me. And I would hope that games will still be played there by the England national team. I'd be perhaps a little bit disappointed if it was going to be a question of that's the end of England and Wembley, but I don't believe that will be the case. And if it meant that just a few other games had to be taken outside of Wembley and taken around the country, I don't see that personally as a negative. We did it during my time before we went to France, and it was very well received. So all I can say really about the subject is that I am an admirer of Wembley. I am a massive supporter of Wembley as the national stadium and England playing there. But I also have great faith in the FA that they won't be making decisions lightly. And if they think this is a good deal and a deal that will bring in money that they can spend in a better way, then I will be behind that.
Just very finally from me, how watertight is your deal to sign Victor Guaita? Because there have been reports in Spain in the last few days that Atletico think they can still get him for next season, but you did announce earlier in the season that he's coming.
You'll have to ask that question then to Doug Friedman, really, who's the one who's done the deal. I, as manager, have it on very good assurance that he has signed a contract with us and that he will be a Crystal Palace player next year. That's all I know, but I don't know anything about this speculation in the Spanish press that you're referring to because I don't read Spanish apart from anything else, funny enough, so I wouldn't know the details. I've heard it's been picked up here in England, but I don't know the details.
Thank you. Emma.
Hello, a couple of questions from me. I just wondered how much easier it is, how much happier you are going into these last 3 games knowing that your Premier League future is in your own hands.
Yes. We're much happier knowing that it's up to us now. You know, we aren't looking up at people who've got a lot of points more than we have and a big advantage in terms of the gap between us and them, which was the case for a very large part of the season, certainly the early part of the season. Having pulled ourselves out of the actual bottom 3, it's important now that we use these last 3 games to ensure that we stay out of the bottom 3, and there's only one way to do that, and that's by getting the points you need from the games, because it was a massive mistake, in my opinion, to start doing those playing football on paper exercises where you decide on paper which games the teams around you will win and which games the teams around you will lose, because it's a game that you're bound to fail with. The football isn't played on paper. Football doesn't follow the form book. Football basically is a new story every time the game comes around, and it's 95 minutes of drama and excitement, and nobody really knows what's going to happen at the end of the game, and that's one of the things that makes sport such a wonderful thing to be involved in. And it's also one of those things which, if you're involved as a manager or a coach, gives you the anxiety and the nervousness, because even though it might look as if these are games you can win, there'll only be games you can win if you put in the performances and get the goals you need to win them.
On the subject of Christian Benteke, he has said that he's concerned that he might not be going to the World Cup because of his current performance. Share those concerns with you?
Not per se, not in the sense he comes to knock on my door every day and says I'm worried about my chances of going to the World Cup because I'm not playing and not scoring goals. But of course I'm very much aware of it. It's not just him. There's a very good Korean player, Chung Lee, that we have in the squad, who's had very few chances, but is a player I strongly admire and think he's very, very good. And I've actually told his national team coach how good I think he is. But of course he's not in the team, so that gives the coaches an easy option not to select them. But unfortunately this is a fact of life as well. You know, the fact the squads going to Russia will be 23 strong. That's 20 outfield places, and there's a lot of competition for those places, and in particular if you're a Belgian or an Englishman or a Korean, those places are hard to come by. And unfortunately if you want one, there's nothing your club coach can do to help you. It's up to you, I suppose, to play so well in the games where you play that the people who decide who goes, i.e. the national team manager and his coaching staff, they decide they want to pick you. So however much sympathy I might have for players who haven't been able to show that form they would have liked to have shown, or get the chances to play that they maybe would have wanted, which I haven't been able to give them, this is just a fact of football life. You know, it is the club teams that pay the wages, and the national teams which to some extent provide the glamour. And if you want that glamour and you want those big prizes of major competitions, you've got to be playing well enough to impress upon the national team manager that you're the right man for the job. I still hope Christian can do that, and I still hope that they'll find a place for him, because he hasn't lost anything of his ability, and he's still Christian Benteke with all the qualities that Christian Benteke possesses, as is Chung Lee, of course.
And finally for me, Stephen Gerrard has been linked with the Rangers job, and as somebody who knew him as a player, I wonder what qualities you thought he might offer as a manager.
All the qualities a club will be looking for in their manager: honesty, dedication, experience, enthusiasm, intelligence, deep knowledge of the game. And the one thing that he lacks is experience. But then unfortunately everyone, when they take on their first job, lacks experience. You can't get your first job as an experienced manager and coach. You can only get your first job because someone has seen in you the qualities that they're looking for in their new manager or head coach. So I would have no doubts about Stephen in that role. But as I say, I don't know anything about that speculation. I've certainly not spoken to Stephen about it, so I don't know how far down the line that story goes. But in terms of his credentials, I couldn't speak highly enough of him.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the broadcast section. Thank you.